Hey, it's Anthony. Just a day after 7 House Democrats voted to fund ICE, ICE has murdered another American citizen in broad daylight. Let's talk about it. This is Alex Jeffrey Preddy, a 37-year-old Veteran Affairs ICU nurse that was shot and killed by ICE in Minneapolis today while legally observing and protesting ICE operations in the city, as per his First Amendment rights. While observing, Preddy was also wearing a holstered firearm that he had a legal permit to carry, as per his Second Amendment rights. The firearm is at the center of the latest murder, as ICE is claiming that Preddy had, quote, approached them with a handgun with the, quote, intent to massacre law enforcement, and that he was shot after a violent struggle to remove the gun. All of which is nothing but blatant lies and gaslighting of the nation, because, as with Renee Good's murder just 2 weeks ago, there are multiple videos of the incident that show the truth. That Preddy was assisting a nearby protester who was knocked down by ICE agents when he was pepper sprayed, wrestled to the ground by multiple agents, disarmed, and then shot 10 times. And notice that I say disarmed and then shot, because there's about a 3-second gap in the video between when an agent runs off with Preddy's gun and when the other agents shoot him, which clearly contradicts any claims of self-defense from the multiple officers that had, tackled him to the ground and restrained him. And at no point before he was tackled to the ground does Preddy ever threaten the officers or draw his gun. So Preddy was murdered for lawfully carrying a firearm while peacefully protesting 2 constitutionally protected rights. And as journalist Susan Glasser put it so eloquently on X, the final act of his life was trying to help a woman who was being physically assaulted by the masked agents who would then kill him. To make things even worse, in the hours since Preddy's murder, Bondi has sent a letter to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, basically extorting the state, saying that Walz could, quote, restore the rule of law, aka get rid of the federal agents terrorizing the state, if only Minnesota, among other things, released its voter registration data to Trump's DOJ, presumably so that the DOJ can then use that data to further surveil and persecute registered Democrats in the state. So, what can we do about it? First, call your senators immediately. The DHS funding bill passed the House last night, but still has to go through the Senate. There has already been a response to the recent shooting in the Senate, with several senators changing their votes to no, and it's important that we keep the pressure on to block the bill. Second, it's time to get out on the streets. There will be protests across the nation tonight and tomorrow, and you can check websites like mobilize.us or check with groups like Indivisible and Action Network to find protests near you. And finally, because protests are no longer enough, we need to get a nationwide strike going. Yesterday, Minnesota showed us that it can be done, and it's time for the rest of the nation to wake up and stand with them. Not just for Renee or Alex or the hundreds of others that are dead in ICE custody, but because if we don't act now, there will be no one left to act for us.